Welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Elna Miller, your host for today. We are coming to you from our home studios again to share some of the new features in the Spring 21 release. After our product team shares the highlights, we're going to take some time to answer your questions live on the air. We will be monitoring both the Release Readiness Trailblazers community as well as Twitter. So please post your questions early and use the hashtag Salesforce Live. For your longer, more detailed questions, we recommend posting those in the community so the conversation can continue after the webcast. If we don't get to your question live on the air, don't worry, we'll be sure to follow up with you within a few days. All of our webcasts will be available for later viewing on the Salesforce Live website. And since we may be covering the roadmap and making some forward-looking statements, we ask that you please make sure that any purchasing decisions you make be based on currently available functionality. Now let's get started with Tableau CRM and meet our product managers.
Thanks, Elna. Hi, everyone. My name is Ankita Dutta, and I'm a senior product manager with the Tableau CRM team working on operational reports and dashboards. I'm especially thrilled about this release due to all the cool features that we're rolling out. So let's dive right in.
All right, so here are our feature highlights. Number 1 is performance. We're making so many improvements to the Lightning Report Builder performance. And with all the new enhancements, you will see an approximately 50% improvement in your interactions with the report builder. Number 2 is SLSX details only export. You can now export reports as details only SLSX and hide other XLS options as needed. I know for some organizations such as banks, etc., this is a must-have. Number 3 is filter dashboards via URL parameters. Now, similar to reports, you can filter dashboards via URL parameters too. So this is a GIF of multi-select drag and drop, and as you can see, it's now available in Lightning. Now, deep diving into the performance improvements we've made, what are we doing behind the scenes? This diagram explains it well, and it's a multifaceted approach. Number 1, Async Report Builder. Previously, after you performed any action in the report builder, the entire UI was blocked until the query results were back and rendered. The async approach will allow users to continue to interact with the Lightning Report Builder and show a valid representation of the data while queries are handled in the backend. Number 2, front-end performance improvements. With Spring 20, we added the ability to disable preview when building reports. Now, as part 2 of Disable Preview, we are making this even faster by removing the need to retrieve report results on the server side, subsequently reducing the amount of data the front end will need to process. Hence, removing the rendering performance in the Lightning Report Builder. Number 3, multi-select fields. So similar to Classic, we are giving users the ability to multi-select fields and drag and drop them to the report. Keep in mind, we still need to work on multi-select for groupings and filters, but you can start adding fields to the report builder after this release. Next, you will now have the option to export a report as details only in the XLSX format. If security is a concern, you can hide the XLS option by selecting the Hide the option to export a report in XLS format in Lightning Experience in the Reports and Dashboards setting. And the last thing is filter dashboards via URL parameters. Now there's no need to fiddle with filters each time you view your dashboard in Lightning Experience. Create a custom URL that includes the filter parameters. Then when you access the URL, your dashboard opens with the filters already set. For example, you can customize your opportunity stages dashboard with a different URL for each account, or create a custom URL for an account owner. All right, so now on to the demos. So I'm logged into my demo org. What I'm going to do is create a new report of the opportunities report type. And now, due to the performance enhancements, I can add fields quickly to this new report. I can also expand the fields panel and multi-select and drag and drop fields. Let's discard this report now. I can also go ahead and click on the dropdown for any report here and choose Export. And now I will see a Details Only SLX option in the dropdown. Next, let's talk about filter dashboards via URL parameters. I'm going to click on this and open my pre-created accounts and opportunities dashboards. As you can see, this has all the information about my various opportunity record types, total amount, ACV, and some other details. I have two top-level filters. Number one, to filter via opportunity record type, and number two, to filter via accounts if I want to filter the dashboard for a particular account. Now, let's say I want to bookmark my filters and only view these details for a particular account, and in my case, that's Acme. So what I would do is append a new filter parameter after my URL. Since I'm doing this only for the second filter, I will write FV1. If I were to do this for the opportunity record type filter, I would have written FV0 because that's the first filter. It's similar to what we do for reports currently. So I will type FV1 is equal to Acme and hit enter. And what this will do is open my dashboard with the filter Acme applied to it. Now I can bookmark this URL to only view the details for a particular account. So this is one way in which you can use filter dashboards via URL parameters.
That's it for reports and dashboards. And now over to Bezad.
Great. Thanks, Ankita. Hi, my name is Behzad Ritchie. I'm a Tableau CRM product manager with the Experience track. I'm very excited to be talking to you today and showing you some of the latest and greatest Tableau CRM capabilities that are going to be available in the upcoming Spring 21 release. All right, let's get started. So most of you have probably heard by now that Einstein Analytics has a new name. We're now called Tableau CRM. So I just want to touch on this real quick because you are going to see the name Tableau CRM in the product starting in Spring 21, but you may also continue to see references to Einstein Analytics in some places. So please be patient with us as we make these branding and label updates throughout the product. The important thing here is that everything you've come to know and love about Einstein Analytics is staying the same. And well, maybe not exactly the same because we do have a ton of improvements and new features coming in Spring 21. Of course, we won't have time to cover all of these, but I am going to show you a demo of dashboard components, number widget tooltips, mass actions, hidden assets, as well as autonomous insights. Okay, so let's talk about dashboard components. Here, I'm in Dashboard Designer, and you may notice that we have a new widget called Component. This component widget essentially allows us to bring in other dashboards into a parent dashboard. So let's see how this works and why it's beneficial. Now here I can choose a component to be displayed, or I can create a new component. When I click on Create Component, we get a new dashboard canvas inside this component designer. This is almost identical to the dashboard designer. So here you can build your component just as you would build a dashboard with different charts and numbers and pages and so on. And when you're done, you can save this component inside an app just as you would with a dashboard. Now to save us some time, I'm going to select from a component I've built previously. And now you can see how I have my top level pages as well as these sub pages, if you will. This allows me to display different groups of charts, tables, and filters within my dashboard without duplicating so many pages. Remember, without components, we could have created 4 pages with 4 subpages, but that would have required us to create 16 pages. Now, another awesome benefit to components is the reusability. You can see here I've created these cards that contain some numbers, text, and charts. And if I want to reuse these cards in other dashboards, it's as easy as adding a component widget to my dashboard and selecting the component that I've previously created. It's certainly much easier and safer than copy-pasting JSON from one dashboard to another. So this was a quick demo of dashboard components, which is now GA in Spring 21. Great, now let's talk about the new number widget tooltips. So this is a really fantastic feature for showing any sort of extra information and details on your KPIs without cluttering your dashboards. So here I'm showing total profit on this number widget. And let's say I also want to show the growth of profit over time. So I'm going to expand this tooltip section. I'm going to select custom and create a visualization. Now let's remove these extra columns. Let's change the visualization to timeline and add our date field here. And hit done. Next, I'm going to write profit growth over time, and we're done. Let's preview this dashboard. Now, when I hover over this KPI, we can see the custom tooltip that we built showing us the change of profit over time. This would be especially helpful if I had multiple KPIs. I wanted to show more details for each KPI without linking to other dashboards or cluttering my dashboard with these details. Okay, great. So the last capability that I want to show here is the new mass actions. In Spring 21, we've made it super easy for you to enable your users to take quick actions on multiple records at a time without the need to create any custom Visualforce pages or anything complicated like that. So let me show you how this works. I have a table here showing my case data. And let's say I want my users to be able to update or change the owner of multiple cases at a time. To do that, I'm going to expose this functionality via a link widget. You see that we have a new option here called Mass Action. Next, I'm going to select the query corresponding to this action. Pick the column we want to apply the action to. Select the Salesforce action, change owner, and we're done. Now, if the user clicks on this change owner button, they'll be able to update all of the cases up to 100 records at a time. Wonderful. Next, I want to show you a cool new capability that we've added in the Spring 21 release, giving app managers more control over where and how their analytics assets appear for their business users. So here we have this Customer 360 dashboard embedded in the account page, providing our sales reps with a complete view of each account, from their sales cycle to win rate, all the way to product breakdown and even number of open cases. This is really great. But now when our sales rep, John, lands on their analytics homepage, they notice that the summary of account dashboard is always at the top of their recent dashboards. Curious, they open the dashboard. Instead, this time, they get the account summary dashboard without any filters applied to it. This out-of-context view of the data can cause confusion among business users and may even mislead them. So in this release, we're enabling app managers to hide certain assets from the analytics home experience while not impacting users' access to the underlying data. Let's see how this works. As a builder, because I have edit access to this app, I see a new option in the asset dropdown menu called Hide. Once I mark an asset as hidden, you will notice that the asset icon will become partially translucent so that myself and other app managers will know which assets are hidden. Now, going back to my sales rep, John, let's refresh the page. And notice that they can still view this embedded dashboard with all its data. But now when they visit their analytics home, summary of account is no longer visible to them. Any asset marked as hidden is unavailable in the home, browse, and search experience to users with viewer access. There could be many other use cases for this feature. For example, a dashboard builder can hide dashboards that are under development until they're ready to be consumed. So in summary, this new capability provides app managers with more control over which assets are visible and accessible to end users through the Analytics tab and Analytics Studio. I should mention that this is a beta feature in Spring 21. Later, I'll post some details in the community as to how you can sign up and enable this feature for your org. And now for the most exciting demo, I'm going to show you how you can empower all your users to ask data questions and get answers fast with autonomous insights. With search tailored for analytics, users can easily access intelligent insights and contextual recommendations with natural language, enabling everyone to be data-driven without prior knowledge of data sets and exploration tools. Here in the New Insights section, we can see user-specific recommendations to help you pick up where you left off, explore new insights, and find new collaborators. So you may be wondering, how do we make these recommendations? Well, we're native to Salesforce, where all of our users have worked together to build, refine, and tailor it to your specific business needs. We're using all of this information to build no setup language models just for your business and a new semantic graph mapping how data is interconnected and how users utilize it across Salesforce and analytics. Now let's take a look at how this can help a sales rep. As we're nearing the end of the year, I need to close a couple more deals, but what are the ones I should focus on? Let's start off with something simple. Instead of using a dashboard to find and get insights, I can directly ask a question and see our total prospecting deals. Einstein has picked a single number as the best visualization and has found relevant insights already created by other users. Note that deals isn't the name of a dataset or object in Salesforce. Einstein's neural network has learned that deals refers to opportunities from the language of past interactions with Salesforce and has applied this knowledge to find the best dataset to answer the question using the semantic graph. Now we can further refine the question and dig deeper into individual deals. This time, Einstein has determined a chart is the best visualization while also being transparent. I can see here details of where the answer came from, the data set, filters, groups, and measures along with a confidence score. Einstein highlights parts of the question based on what it understood, with blue indicating parts of the question that were used when forming the query, such as for filters, values, or groupings. This interaction will act as a feedback loop to allow Einstein to continuously improve its models and learn from how you interact with your data. To further dive into the answer, we can go to Explorer, or Share to collaborate on your answer. So with the power of autonomous insights, any user can quickly find answers to their questions across all your data in Salesforce. If you want to get your hands on this amazing pilot feature, please reach out to your Salesforce account representative. Great. Hope you enjoyed these demos and found them useful. Next, we're going to hear all about apps from my colleague, Radha.
Thank you, Behzad. Hey, everyone. I'm Radha, product manager, responsible for all pre-built analytics templates. I'm excited to be sharing all the new features in analytics templates and industry analytics products that are going to be available in the Spring 21 release. All right, let's get started. Let's see activity intelligence in action. Here, Mr. Sen is looking at his sales team's performance in the context of activities they logged for closed opportunities. He can see the breakdown of activities here. Let's look at open opportunities to see if any of his team needs any help. Elizabeth is logging many activities. Her account coverage is good. Pipegen looks good. Looks like her quota attainment is low. Let's zoom in on top deals she has. Looks like she needs to focus on this opportunity. This is how activity intelligence helps sales leaders coach their sales reps to reach their goals. Now, let's switch gears to industry analytics products. Salesforce Industries team launched Loyalty Cloud at NRF Trade Show on January 12th. I am thrilled to announce the analytics add-on for loyalty management in Spring 21. Let me show you how loyalty analytics can help program managers and member services in monitoring program performance, measuring engagement, and member activity. Here, the program manager is reviewing a specific loyalty program performance. She can get quick insight into members, accrued points, redeemed points, and revenue generated. She notices member engagement is going down. She wants to see what is going on. She navigates to program performance. She is interested in member engagement. specifically individuals who are not engaged. Now that she narrowed down to the segment of member population, she can take action right from the dashboard. She can easily add them to a marketing campaign all at once. I'm excited to show you a few dashboards that are included in Rebate Analytics in Spring 21. Business Insights dashboard provides insights into rebate program performance, such as payouts, orders, and revenue trends. We are also shipping embedded analytics dashboards in account, order, sales agreements, and rebate program pages. Let me show you 4 major enhancements we made to Insurance Analytics app in Spring 21. Number 1, enhanced template to predict likelihood of policy renewal with one-click app installation. Customers can quickly build model, deploy model, score records, and visualize the score on pre-built dashboards with one-click framework, operationalizing AI faster to empower agents. The second enhancement to insurance app configuration allows customers to install the app even when they don't have lead history enabled. Number 3, customers are also getting pre-built dashboards, providing insights on households to identify high-value households and cross-sell opportunities. We are also shipping household embedded dashboards that agents can use in their business flows. For example, here they can compare a specific household GWP with average GWP of other households. We are introducing a new branch management analytics dashboard that is part of retail banking template in Spring 21 to help bankers set and drive branch goals and support customers at branch. Managers can use this dashboard to make sure branches meet their quarterly goals and staff meet their targets. That's a wrap for apps and templates. Thank you all. And Neeraj is going to cover data platform updates.
Thanks, Radha. Hi, everyone. My name is Neeraj Munshi, and I'm a product manager with the Tableau CRM team working on the data platform. I'm very excited to share the new features we are launching as part of the upcoming Spring 21 release. Let's get right into it. All right, let's start talking about the Spring 21 release, where we have a mix of features that cover all 3 pillars of our data platform: data prep, scale, and connectivity. The latest version of Tableau CRM Data Prep allows you to easily point and click your way to building data sets for visualization, or push your prepared CRM data into Snowflake, Salesforce, or Tableau for further exploration. Some of our highlights in Spring 21 release include exciting updates to our machine learning transformations in data prep, new ways to write data out of Tableau CRM, the ability to execute queries using SQL for Tableau CRM, and much more. I'll walk you through a demo of some of these features shortly. First, I'm excited to announce our Smart Transform pilot program that you can join to try out all our pilot features in data prep recipes. Now you can use time series forecasting transformations in data prep recipe to run forecasts based on historical data. For example, estimation of quarterly sales. Or maybe you want to use our new cluster transformation to segment rows of data into distinct clusters based on common attributes such as industry, rating, number of employees, and annual revenue. Using these clusters, you can identify products and services to upsell to each account based on other accounts in the same cluster. And finally, we also have the ability to use the pivot function in the aggregate node. Next, I want to highlight new ways to write data from Tableau CRM to a variety of external targets. First, with Sync Out for Snowflake, you can keep your Salesforce data up to date in Snowflake without the need for a third-party ETL tool. Additionally, as part of the data prep output node, you can also have the ability to export your datasets to .csv format. As part of our beta release, you can now push your prepared datasets such as account, opportunity, or custom object data into any Salesforce org with the new Tableau CRM Salesforce Output Connector. And finally, you can now export your prepared data from Tableau CRM into Tableau Online with the Tableau Hyper Output Connector and data prep recipes. Moving on, now you execute your queries on your datasets with structured query language tailored for Tableau CRM. Use SQL queries to calculate common business cases such as cost to revenue ratio, apply advanced sorting to your data, and work with the new windowing function formulas. Our version runs on Tableau CRM datasets and has native support for Salesforce features such as sharing inheritance and custom fiscal calendars. Now it's time to get into some demos. All right, so here I am in the data prep editor where you can use the graph of a recipe to see at a glance where the data comes from and how it flows through the recipe to the target. Here, we have some Salesforce CRM data that is being enriched for analytics. I can inspect my data in real time using data preview. Now, you might be familiar with the join node that performs a lookup to enrich my data. In this release, to prevent API name conflicts between columns in the left and the right data sources, now you can enter a prefix for columns coming from the right data source. The join node prepends the prefix to the API names of all columns from the right. For example, if you specify contact as the prefix, all column names on the right begin with contact. Next, I want to show you some exciting updates to our custom formula editor. First, let me navigate to a transform node. Here, you can see all the existing steps that I have for various calculations, and then I'll navigate to a custom formula step. Here's where you can see all the features we introduced in our last release, but if we take a closer look, things get a lot more interesting. With Spring 21, now you can perform calculations across rows with window functions. For example, you can calculate the changes to the opportunity amount throughout the stages of each opportunity to see if you hit your sales target. Here are all the window functions that can be used in the formula. For example, rank, last value, current, lead, etc. Simply enable the multiple row formula toggle to use the window functions in your formula and then choose your desired function. Then I'm simply going to define some window properties such as partition by to country, order by to created date, and sort direction to ascending. Based on these settings, the transformation combines all records into partitions or buckets based on the same country. And if I scroll to the right, here's a quick example of the newly created formula using the rank function. Next, let's look at what's new in the append node. Here I have the append node where I'm mapping together columns from two different sources. But let's say columns in one source do not exist in the other. Now, you can append the data that has different columns than what's in the recipe. On the left-hand side, as you can see here, I do not have a mapping, but now using the append node in data prep recipe, it supports columns from the right data source that don't exist in the left. This is what we call disjoint append feature in the append node. In Spring 21, I'm happy to announce that we are making clustering available through our Smart Transform pilot program, which means users can easily leverage machine learning transformations directly within recipes. Let's see how that works. Here, I have some account data which I'm going to aggregate by country. For that, let me first navigate to the aggregate node. As you can see, here I have selected average amount and I have grouped it by country and industry. But in order to ensure clustering is successful, we don't just want one number, maybe you want multiple numbers, because you also want to project your data by account type, product type, geo region, etc. To support that, we have introduced a new capability called pivot in the aggregate node. As part of the Smart Transform pilot program, you will also get access to the pivot capability in the aggregate node, where now you can group data by columns. For example, Simply add the account type in the group columns pilot field of the aggregate node, and each value of the dimension appears as a separate column. Next, we can use clustering on these newly aggregated columns. Clustering and pivot go well together. Let me show you how. You can get into the clustering transform by clicking on the clustering pilot icon on the transform panel. To save some time, here I have an existing transform step with clustering selected. As you can see here, you can choose the number of default clusters. It starts off at 3 and you can change it up to 20. Next, I can go ahead and select the columns I'm interested in using for clustering purposes, such as industry, country, or anything else that you might have in your data set. It supports both dimensions and measures for clustering purposes. That's it. After you run the recipe, each account is assigned a cluster name. As you can see in the preview, we assign a temporary label, but later on, when you explore the data set, you can use that to build a dashboard to gain insights about accounts in each cluster. Wow, how easy is that? We can't wait to hear your feedback on the features released this spring. So stay connected with us on the Trailblazer community. That's it from me, turning it over to Bharadwaj to share some exciting updates from the Einstein Discovery team. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj. Hello, everyone. My name is Bharadwaj Tanikela. I'm a senior product manager with Einstein Discovery, and I'm very excited to share all the things we have been working on this release. For Spring 21, the Einstein Discovery team is back with a lot of exciting features. We really hope that you will enjoy these features as much as we did building them. We are introducing an all-new user experience for Einstein Discovery Stories in Spring 21. An Einstein Discovery story tries to answer what happened, why it happened, and what could happen with the provided data. We wanted to improve the way we provided the analysis to our users. Through this new user experience, our users can intuitively interact with the story. We didn't stop with the user experience upgrades with the story. We have also applied UI transformations to Einstein Data Insights. Einstein Data Insights is a product on top of Lightning Reports. With EDI, our users can easily analyze their report data and gain insights. Similar to stories, EDI analysis is powered by statistical analysis and will provide graphical and textual narratives. Through these easily interpretable insights, our users can understand their data and further make learned decisions. Also, EDI will be available to all the users with the Plus license. So go ahead and try it out. Moving on, we all know how important data science is for businesses these days. Einstein Discovery definitely helps by creating models for quite a few use cases. However, you probably have your own models built outside of Einstein Discovery. Now the question is, how could you operationalize the model and surface up the predictions inside Salesforce? That's exactly what we did in Spring 21. I am very excited to introduce Bring Your Own Model. With this amazing new feature, we are able to support external models and allow users to surface up the predictions inside Salesforce. This feature will be in pilot this release, and if you are interested, please reach out to your account executive for more details. Now, let's look at a demo that highlights our amazing features for Spring 21. Let's assume that I'm looking into a report of my closed opportunities over the past year, and I would like to understand more details on how I can optimize my win rate. In Spring 21, Einstein Data Insights will be automatically enabled to all the orgs with Plus license, so users with the right permissions will be able to see this Analyze button. Once we click on the Analyze button, a panel appears on the right side where I can specify the goal. I can either create a new analysis or select an existing analysis. With the all-new UI, we have reduced the clutter and added essential elements such as a panel with field correlations, as you can see here. Further, the insights are sorted based on the impact on the goal. We can click on the insight to expand it and get more information. Just like in Einstein Discovery Story, the insight card will contain a graph and helpful narratives. Further, we provide helpful tooltips across the product if you want to understand further. You could either use the carousel to navigate through the insights or select the insight on the right-hand panel to explore further. If you notice that the report has been updated, you could simply click on the refresh button to refresh the analysis with the same goal. This product is quite powerful, and we are very happy to reintroduce it to our users. Now, let's see all the amazing improvements we have made in Tableau CRM Studio. In Spring 21, we have improved our existing templates by automatically deploying predictions. That is, these fast start templates will automatically create a data flow, dataset, story, and will deploy the story and populate the dataset with predictions, a complete cycle. These templates also come with a helpful dashboard providing information about the story. We have upgraded this template to add additional information, which we feel will be helpful to our users. With this new addition, it's never been easy to get started with Einstein Discovery. Let's open the story which is created through this template. Wow, this is the all-new Einstein Discovery story. The reimagined user experience which we are very proud to present to you in Spring 21. The story overall has changed quite a bit from the previous releases. Let's go over these changes one by one. On the left-hand side, you have the correlation panel, which is powered by statistical analysis and helps us understand what fields matter the most. On the main panel, we have the insights about the number of rows analyzed and general statistics on the outcome. Below that, we have the insights sorted by their importance. Let's say I would like to understand the insights for lead source. I could click on the left-hand panel and get the insights for that column. Immediately, I will be able to see insights relevant to lead source and the outcome. You can easily navigate through these insights while gaining value and understanding why a field value is performing better or worse than the others. Not only that, you have the ability to compare two field values to understand the differences between them. We could easily traverse back by selecting the appropriate breadcrumb links. Let's go back to the overview. The intuitiveness of this new user experience is something which we are very happy with, and hope you feel the same. Let's look at the other important incremental changes done in Spring 21. If you want to make changes to an existing story, the place to do that is the Edit Story page. In this release, we are introducing an all-new model algorithm type, Random Forest. With the inclusion of Random Forest, you can now select between 4 algorithm types or run the model tournament to let Einstein Discovery choose the best model. Further, we made important performance improvements to make sure you can add filters seamlessly. Note, the model tournament will run all the models and will take a longer time than selecting a specific model algorithm. Moving on, we're very happy to say that predictions in the new data prep is GA in Spring 21. With this new prediction node, you can easily add predictions to a dataset and at the same time apply top predictors and top recommendations to it. It's an amazing feature and we're very excited for you to use it. Now, let's assume that we have deployed the model and we are interested in monitoring the performance of this model. The place to do that is the Model Manager. This Model Manager has information of all the models currently in production in your org. I can click on a model to further understand its performance in production. In Spring 21, you should see this all-new Notify Me button on the screen. With this live model metric notification system, I can let Einstein Discovery let me know if there is something which I need to pay attention to. In this case, if I click on the notifications button, I get to set a few rules, and as soon as the performance meets one of the rules, you get a notification. It is very important to monitor the health of the models in production, and with this alerting mechanism, you have a system monitoring the performance on a scheduled cadence. Finally, I want to show you guys my favorite feature. Sandbox environment is a vital part of any Salesforce development cycle. We understand that customers usually use the sandbox environment to implement a new product before transferring over to production. Before Spring 21, if you wanted to work on Einstein Discovery models in Sandbox, you had to manually recreate them in production. This is a very strenuous process, and so to fix that, we are very excited to introduce model packaging in this release. With model packaging, you can build models in your sandbox and easily upload them to your production using the change set components. Operationalizing has never been easier. Spring 21 has been a spectacular release for our Einstein Discovery team, and the demo is just the highlight reel. We are introducing amazing pilot features such as imputation, fuzzy matching, model card, and bring your own model to the list. So if you are interested, please reach out to your AEs and join us on the pilot program for these features. We really hope that you enjoy these features. Thank you. Back to you, Elna.
Great. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for Tableau CRM. We're going to go ahead and dive straight into your questions, and just keep those questions coming in the Release Readiness Trailblazers community as well as Twitter. Okay, so Ankita, this is for you. Regarding report types. So thank you so much for the recent new feature to add new fields to custom report types automatically. That's awesome. What about some other enhancements for admins specifically in standard reports? Can you share anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for the question, Elna, and thank you so much for the feedback. So, it's really good to know that our auto add to CRD feature is helping you. This is where we sort of understand how valuable our features are and what we should work on. So keep providing us feedback. Regarding, other enhancements, right, coming up for admin specifically, one thing we do want to look at in the future is revamping our report types interface, because I think that's something we haven't concentrated on in the past. And, I know there's a huge issue that we hear from our customers about proliferation, about finding the right report types, right? Which one should you use to create which report, if it already exists or not? And all of that is sort of interrelated. And I think that's a problem we do need to solve, sooner than later. Sort of like being able to smart search for reports via queries, look up reports via fields and objects based on other factors, and just making our search more intuitive. And also we want to work as part of it is also on our classic gap to hide report types, because that's sort of, again, related to this whole recommended report types.
I heard that one.
Exactly, right? And that's another feedback we've heard too from our users. So, the team is brainstorming on some designs, and, if you're interested in like providing feedback, taking a look at those, then do, post and let us know, and we will be happy to connect with you and gather feedback.
All right, and you all know where to post that feedback, so I won't remind you again. So speaking of roadmap, what about integrating operational analytics within Tableau? Is that coming in the future?
Yeah, so, as we try and figure out our roadmap with Tableau, that is definitely something that we do want to do. Our team did work on a couple of like hacks, which is like our hackathons, to figure out if that's possible. And, we do have certain ideas about opening an operational report in Tableau, and from there you can use the Tableau Viz, right, to do all sorts of things. Like one example was something like a map viz, which we don't have in OA, but you can use that in Tableau once you're able to connect the report. But we still need more information in terms of like, how much do you want it to refresh? Like, how often do you change your reports? Any other use cases that we're not thinking about? So similar to above, it is something we do want to put on our roadmap, but we do want to hear from our community about A, how valuable it would be, and B, about any use cases that we're not considering right now. So do let us know.
All right, cool. Thanks for that. So what about performance enhancement? So, if you got a big report, maybe you don't have Tableau yet, and you're crunching a lot of data. Are there any enhancements coming in that front?
Yeah, so performance for operational analytics and for reporting, right, has been a journey. I know last release, prior to this release, we heard a lot of feedback from our community about report builder being slow. And that's when we invested into the things you saw in release readiness, right? Like the async report builder, the disabled preview, multi-select. However, that's sort of a part of it, right? Like now we're offering you this functionality. You can add and delete fields quickly. In the future, we also want to look at things like filters and groupings, so that's something that'll come up. Report run page is something we want to invest time in. So we will continue working through it as well. Apart from this,
what about the bucket feature? I know, like sometimes I try to use that to cut down on or sort of make the groupings more logical when I don't have a field. But there is a limit to how many values you can have in a bucket and that sort of thing. Is there going to be more on that, or like cross filters, buckets, all those things that kind of let you do those filterings and groupings on the fly?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? And limit increases are something that are very complicated to implement for operational reporting, just because of the amount of power it takes to increase limits. We have to work on a lot of, we have to work with performance, we have to work with platform to figure out all of those things. But and this is where we can use feedback. Like Elna, you mentioned bucket fields. If the community is looking for something particular, do let us know. And now that performance is resolved, we can, keep looking at that in the future and see if we can do something about it.
Great, thanks much. And speaking of feedback, I just want to shout out to Christy Pollock Brown on Twitter, because she's been giving us lots of feedback today and lots of shout outs. So thank you for that. And also she wanted to mention that she was able to participate in the beta for the new component widget. And she says it's going to save so much time and effort. So thanks a lot for doing that. And also she's really excited to be able to push Tableau CRM data sets into Tableau. So another great one. And the great thing about that, coming direct from a customer, is that there's no prepping data in more than one place. So huge time saver. So thank you for that. And she also asked regarding the widget tooltips, the number widget tooltips. They're amazing, but is there going to be similar functionality for other widgets in the future?
Yes, thanks, Elna. Thanks for that question. I could probably answer that.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, so we are thinking, obviously, this is future facing. So we are definitely thinking of bringing more rich tooltips to other widgets. I think one of the main ones we're thinking about is tables. We're trying to really enhance the table experience. I'm sure as you guys have seen in the past few releases, all the improvements we've brought with tables and what we call killer tables. And so, yes, we want to add even richer tooltips to tables and make the existing tooltip we added for number widget also even richer in experience.
Awesome. So since I have you, Behzad, let me give you a couple more questions. Are dashboard components supported on mobile? And is it possible to create mobile layouts for a component?
Yes. So dashboard widgets will be supported on mobile. The mobile release or update that's going to go out sometime in March. It should be around mid-March. That's going to support component widgets. Layouts are not supported on components right now. That's honestly just to keep things simple. If you have if you have a dashboard with multiple layouts and they have multiple components, each of those having their layouts, it gets kind of crazy and out of hand. So we wanted to keep things simple. So we recommend that hopefully you're building components in a way that they're simple enough in their layout format that they can work both on desktop and mobile. But if not, if you have different needs for your mobile versus desktop layout, you certainly can include different component widgets in the parent dashboard, desktop layout, or mobile layout. And that way you can kind of have different components in the layouts.
Gotcha, thanks. And then also being able to hide an embedded dashboard in Studio is great, but can I also hide the button that allows users to get into Analytics Studio from the dashboards?
Yes, so we get this request quite often. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. There are the embedded dashboards, and each embedded dashboard might have that Open in Analytics button. Since the winter 21 release, we added a capability where you can control each individual embedded dashboard's Open in Studio button. You can completely hide that or just allow for that to open in Analytics tab or Studio. If you do hide a dashboard, that will automatically kind of remove that button for you. So you wouldn't have to kind of do that twice. If it's marked as hidden, it'll just disappear. There is another feature in Spring 21. This is specifically for dashboards that are not embedded, but those you open up within the Analytics tab in the Salesforce Lightning experience. Those, by default, they also have an Open in Studio button. We have a feature where you can change the visibility of Analytics Studio based on user profiles. So if you do hide the visibility of Analytics Studio for a certain user profile, then that Open in Studio button will also be hidden for those same users. And that's an enhancement we added in the Spring 21.
So but that would be for all dashboard, pretty much everywhere, right? They wouldn't see that button.
That would be for all except embedded. So embedded is a little bit separate. Yeah, so it'd be all that are open within Salesforce, but embedded you still have, you can use one of the two other methods I mentioned to hide.
Got it. So embedded would allow them to see the data from Tableau Analytics without having to go into the studio itself. Is that the main part? Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So a question from Powell: Can you bind dashboard components like dashboard charts?
Can you bind dashboard components? So yeah, I think there may be some binding capabilities. I'm not 100% sure. So I think this may be something we could take it to the community. If we post there, I can find the answer to that. There might be ways where binding works in one way, but not the other way around, from parent to the component as opposed to component to parent dashboard. But I'm not 100% sure. So I don't want to say anything that's not right. Yeah, so I can get back to you on that one.
Okay, thanks. So Radha, let me go to you for a couple of questions here. So how do we get access to Revenue Ops Analytics template?
Okay, that's a great question. So Revenue Operations Analytics app is available for all Tableau CRM Plus customers, meaning formerly known as Einstein Analytics Plus. So it's just like any other template. The customers would have to go to assign themselves EA Plus, either admin or the user license, and then they should be able to view this template in the studio. Not only that, if customers has any other industry analytics products, they can also take advantage of Revenue Operations Analytics, because the industry analytics licenses are powered by EA Plus behind the scenes, which means even industry customers should be able to take advantage of Revenue Operations Analytics.
Oh, great. Nice bonus there.
Mm-hmm.
So what about row limits? Are there row limits for the industry apps?
Yeah, so it's similar to Einstein Analytics Plus, now rebranded as Tableau CRM Plus, comes with 10 billion rows of capacity, which means all the industry analytics products are also have the same capacity limits associated with those licenses as well. So with the industry analytics product, not only they're able to use the template specifically built for that industry vertical, they can also take advantage of other templates like sales analytics, service analytics, revenue operations. They are free to install these apps through Studio and then take advantage of our full platform capability.
Excellent, thanks. Okay, I think these are for you, Bharadwaj. So the first one is the new UI for stories available for everyone?
Absolutely. As I mentioned previously, earlier, we're super excited to introduce this new UI for the stories. And our whole motive or vision around this is we want to make the stories experience a more intuitive experience. And so it wouldn't be fair if we just have it for a certain set of people. It is available for every single story which you have created previously or are going to create starting Spring 21. So please, again, I highly recommend there's a feedback button. So I highly recommend you use the stories and give us adequate feedback so that we can do more improvements and present to you in the next release readiness.
So as folks are playing with that feature, they're most likely going to be playing with it in the sandbox. So let's say they build a model in the sandbox. And they move it to production. Will that also move the associated story?
So unfortunately, at this point in time, when you are building a model, so when you've built a story, when you build a model in the sandbox environment and you want to upload it to production environment, which is usually what we noticed is what people do, Since the story is related to the data set, right? So the story is a snapshot of your data set, right, at a certain moment in time. So unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have that capability where we move the story, but the model, since it's persisted on Salesforce, can be moved. So if you are deploying your model, or you have multiple models or on a given prediction, all of that can be moved into production and you can operationalize it immediately.
Okay, so then would you just recreate the story in production? Is it quick, pretty quick to
exactly.
do that?
So it's based on the data set. So all you need to do is, just recreate the story and you should be good to go.
Okay, great. Neeraj, a couple for you. So is the time series transform the same as a SACL query?
Yeah, that's a great question. So same as the function that's available in a SACL query language, the new time series and data prep is also based on the same hold winters algorithm. So it will sort of behave in kind of the same way. So absolutely.
Gotcha. And Powell also asked, is it possible to deploy data sets with ANT?
I believe we have some best practices. I can reach out offline and share some details. I think we have some good examples about it. So yeah, just reach out to me.
So Powell he's posting his questions on Twitter. So I'm sure, Powell, you're familiar with the Trailblazer community. I do recommend you post just kind of summarize your questions in the community so we can kind of have a longer conversation there. When you get a chance, we'll also respond on Twitter, but it'll maybe benefit everyone else in the community if you put it there. So thanks. Julian asked, export data set as CSV. Is that exporting data, or it's when he's working on it, it says it's exporting data with NA in his sandbox. And he's wondering if that's something that's being addressed.
It should work as designed. So please feel free to just reach out to me with details and I can take a look at it. We'll get it resolved. Yeah.
Would you recommend also maybe logging a case with support to see if they can dig into it?
Exactly. Yeah, if there is a case detail or anything, just message me on Twitter or Trailblazer community and I'll take a look at it.
Sounds good. All right. So if you wanted to join the Smart Transform pilot, how would you go about doing that? Because I know there are different routes to pilots. Yeah. So
great question. So this one, we haven't made it simple. So just reach out to your account executive and ask for the new data prep recipe Smart Transform pilot program. And then from there, we'll reach out and sort of figure out the details. So yeah, just contact your account executive and then we'll sign you up.
And do you need a plus license for the clustering and time series features?
No, so just like our features, the time series features in SACL, this is available both for our growth and plus licenses. So everyone is sort of free to sort of use the feature.
Okay, great. I got one more, I think this is for Radha. So regarding the apps, can they be customized? Like how can they be customized? What sort of things can you change?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why we build pre-built analytics templates is to give customers that acceleration to, AI and BI journey. With that, we are making those augments in the data flow, applying rich transformations that, my colleague Neeraj is working on. And of course, we have an point of view on the use cases and the target persona and the best practices with respect to design, data flow orchestration, where you can embed some of these insights, whether it is homepage, Salesforce record pages. With that said, the Tableau CRM Plus license allows customers to customize data flow visualization. You can even bring in any additional data that we may or may not have in Salesforce, outside Salesforce, and also, make a copy of the app dashboard and then, make it your own. So we understand that, you make customizations to your own Salesforce instance, which means you have to propagate those changes into these pre-built apps as well. So absolutely, the answer is yes.
So it's a great head start. And then, with the standard stuff that everybody needs, and then they can further make it their own from there. Absolutely. That's great. So thank you again, great time saver. So appreciate that. All right, so we are at the end of this broadcast for today. And we are going to come back again tomorrow with Service Cloud and Field Service Lightning. We do encourage you all to keep posting your questions in the community, especially, and also in Twitter. And we'll get back to you if we didn't get to your question on the air within the next couple days. And definitely come back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. We're starting up again with Service Cloud. And also, we are recording all these webcasts, so they're going to be available on the Salesforce Live website for later viewing. And we're here all week, so I can't wait to hear how you're using new features to innovate. So we'll see you out in the Release Readiness Trailblazers community, where everybody can meet to be release ready. Thanks all. See you later.